Although she is the daughter of a cruel demon king, she was born kind-hearted and very gentle. She possesses a magical power that makes all animals and creatures love her. However, her father wants to turn her into a ruthless demon. But will he succeed? Watch till the end. In one of the world's evil creatures lived following malicious intentions, fond of destruction and violence known as demons. There was one who resorted to a greater and more violent power to try and subdue those demons under his command, the demon king, Ahriman. That ambition drove him to attempt to conquer the entire demon world. Thus began the invasion of the Demon King's army. We see the war between monsters and some people who appear to be the heroes of our new story. We see the Demon King destroying everything with his super fiery power, wreaking havoc in the demon world and spreading terror in the human world. It was only a matter of time until the demon world submitted to a single rule, and everyone believed this evil invasion would soon expand to other worlds, but impossible. While we see the girl Jay, the Demon King's right hand and advisor, about to subdue the demon of the north and make him surrender, an order comes to her from the Demon King to withdraw immediately. Jay goes to the Demon King and asks him why he ordered that and stopped the plan to control the world. The Demon King tells her this is a grave matter, and if they don't deal with this obstacle, he won't be able to think about the invasion. Jay is surprised and asks him what this great obstacle is that causes the invasion to stop. He tells her the problem is his daughter, Jo. She's very kind. Jay thinks Jo's kindness is due to her young age, and awakening her cruel nature is just a matter of time. He tells her he thought so too, but within the half year she was away on her campaign, Jo's kindness reached an exaggerated level. She treated the wounds of a human slave, helped some demon slaves carry items, and shared her meals with children. Then our cute heroine Do enters the room and tells him she saved a lizard from the danger of the river. Her father tells her not to approach the river alone again. Then the Demon King tells his assistant Jay that his duty as a father to Do precedes his role as a king. He's worried about his daughter and cannot think about the invasion. Jay tells him she will subject Lady Do to many tests, make her a ruthless, evil demon, and guide her on the path to becoming a true demon. Do thinks they will play together, but Jay tells her this matter involves no playing. She tells them she will make her torture some weak humans to awaken her instincts as a demon. To achieve this, they will cross the dense forest leading to the human world. There are still many loose, lawless demons in the forest challenging the king, so she will have Jo defeat them. Jo gets very happy because she thinks she will play with them. Then Jo goes with Jay. Jay talks to herself, saying Lady Jo must be unable to get rid of her kindness because the Demon King spoils her too much, but she will prevent that. Suddenly, Do moves away from her and disappears into the forest. She is trying to play hide-and-seek with Jay. Do continues playing hide-and-seek and gathers many pets to play with her. Finally, Jay catches her and tells her angrily they aren't there to play hide-and-seek. She tells her that demons steal, oppress, and kill, and these are the 3 principles any demon lives by to become complete. Do ignores her and goes to feed the small rabbit some candy. Then 2 demons appear before them, wanting to kill the weak Do. Do attacks one of them, and when Jay turns to attack the other, she finds Jo on his head playing with him. Jay hits him and grabs Jo, saying internally, I misunderstood. Lady Do didn't become this way because she's spoiled, but because she was born kind essentially, and her kindness affects everyone around her, even monsters or demons. This is very dangerous, because in this stage, she won't be able to succeed the Demon King or live as a demon. I must strengthen my resolve to change her. Then they move to another place in the forest and start the first lesson. Theft. She tells her they will threaten the humans in this village and steal their food, and tells Do to go execute the mission. Do goes to a vendor and asks for potatoes. Jay gets angry because she didn't steal as ordered. Then Do realizes this isn't the mission she came for and takes out Jay's instruction paper, which says she is a great demon, and if she doesn't execute the mission as ordered, she will tear her apart and punish her severely. However, Do ignores that. The vendor offers her the potatoes, and when Do says she has no money, the vendor says she doesn't need money and will give it free of charge. She then tells her leg was injured a while ago and she won't be able to walk again. Furthermore, this year's vegetables weren't good, she couldn't bring many customers, and she intended to close the shop. Do then uses her magic on the woman's leg and heals it and asks her to stand. When the vendor stands, she is surprised and thanks her greatly. Do tells her this is her duty, then goes to Jay telling her she succeeded in stealing. Jay gets angry and tells her not to help humans with her magic as it is unbecoming of a demon. She was supposed to threaten the vendor and steal from her. Do tells her she wants to get things in exchange for helping them, not by threat, and wants to become a demon who helps everyone, and gives her a piece of potato. Then Jay goes to the vendor's house and sees Do there. Jay thanks her for looking after Do today. She enters to see Jo making dolls and giving her a doll that looks very much like her. We see the vendor thanking Do and Jay for their help today. Then we return to the Demon King's house, and he gets angry when he learns that his daughter Do helped the poor granny and healed her with magic. Jay tells him not to worry at all. This is just a test to entrap that old woman to deceive and betray her in the end. She pretended with Do to love helping humans, to gain their trust. The old woman hasn't realized yet that Do is a demon, and it was easy to lure her. The king supports this plan and gives Jay some salt and asks her to lick it. When Jay does so, she suddenly cannot move. The king tells her that if any living being tastes the salt, they will not be able to move and will be forced to obey any command given to them. He tested it on her to ignite Do's desire for control. He asks Doe to issue a command to Jay now, for she will do anything she asks, no matter how cruel or terrifying. Doe gets very happy and takes Jay to the forest. Her command was to carry her the whole way and pat her head. Jay does so. Jay tells her to issue a cruel command to that old woman when they reach her. Doe agrees and tells her she will follow her father's orders. Doe leaves her and goes to the old woman to make her eat that salt, but Doe decides to help the old woman as usual. Jay gets very angry with her. While going to Doe, Jay meets some humans who ask for her help. Jay finds herself agreeing because she is still under the influence of the salt. Her body moves on its own and obeys the humans' orders. Then we see Joe helping the old woman move household items outside. Joe asks her why we are doing that. She tells her that her house is ancient and has become dilapidated, so she decided to renovate it and will stay with a colleague until she does so, but she won't go far as her friend's house is nearby. She asks her to take all the dolls because she no longer needs them. All this time she was dusting and washing them because they were dear to her, but now she wants to gift them to her because those who used to play with them long ago are gone. No one remains of her family and she's become completely lonely. These dolls would surely be happier with you than with an old woman like myself. Doe uses her magic on the dolls and makes them move and tells the old woman that the dolls never want to leave you. They wish to stay with the one who took such good care of them. Here, Jay arrives and is surprised by what Doe is doing, realizing that Joe's kindness awakened those inanimate objects. Joe asks the old woman to take care of the dolls and never part with them. The old woman cries with joy and thanks her greatly. Then Jay goes to the Demon King and he asks Jay about Doe's tests, but Jay cannot tell him. Joe comes to him and shows him the doll she made and tells him she will make one that looks like him next time. Her father hugs her. Jay talks to herself saying, "I'm completely helpless. I will return to the battlefield and destroy the enemies." Then Joe gives her a doll that looks like her. The king tells Jay he is reassured about his daughter being with her. When Jay objects to that, she finds herself under the influence of the king's magic and agrees to the order of taking care of little Doe. And little Doe rejoices at that.
After that, we see this farmer wandering in the forest. He finds these flowers and picks many of them, as we know that these flowers are called Surya flowers and that his wife and daughter love this type of rose. Then he looks into the distance and finds this smoke coming out of somewhere. The scene then shifts to those workers digging in this land, accompanied by Jahi and this demon, directing them to search and excavate for magic stones. Everything is going well as they want, but this demon sees that some scum are causing them some trouble. Jahi understands that he means the demon slayer who was brought in recently, so she orders the demon not to do anything to him, as these slaves provide the manpower they need, and there are many ways they can exploit him. Suddenly, little Dew enters. Jahi is surprised by her and asks her what brought her here. She answered that her father brought her a lot of sweet potatoes, so she wanted to share them with everyone, even if they were humans. Jahi gets very angry because the Demon King abandoned his invasions just to buy his daughter potatoes. Afterwards, the Demon King comes and talks to his daughter Dew. He warns her about sharing things with the slaves. Jahi speaks to him and tells him that he must be stricter with his daughter regarding his actions, as this is what increases Lady Dew's kindness even more. Then she directs her words to Dew, telling her that if she remains kind, the Demon King won't be able to do his job properly. She must become more demonic and fill her heart with cruelty. Dew apologizes to her. The Demon King falls silent for a little while, then tells her that there are definitely matters they must attend to, as the test they conducted with the villagers didn't work at all. Jahi reassures him and tells her that she prepared a new test for Lady Dew, and this test requires her to suppress a rebellious, troublesome slave until he is possessed by fear and pain. The king likes this idea as Jahi finishes her sentence, and she knows that this will be a little dangerous for her, so they must prepare well to ensure her safety. The king asks her not to worry, then gives her daughter this small stick. Dew takes it from him, knowing nothing about the stick. When she holds it in her hand, a halo of light comes out of it, and her father tells her at that moment that she has become the rightful owner of this stick now. Jahi asks about the nature of the stick, so he makes her watch the king using his power to make a statue move. When the statue moves, it tries to attack the little girl, so Dew uses the stick in her hands, and the statue disappears from in front of her. Then the king says that this stick enables its wielder to turn anyone harboring evil, a killing intent, or hatred into dust just by touching them. It is a distinct stick. This makes Jahi reassured about Dew. Jahi asks him what happens if the stick touches a demon, but the Demon King does not answer her because he doesn't know what would happen. Then we move to the lead demon, who is beating the demon slayer because he refused to execute what is asked of him. Afterward, we see that farmer who saw the smoke coming from afar running to see what is happening there. While running, he meets this demon and a group of bandits. They ask him where he's going and if he has any loot there. The farmer answers that he didn't have anything, but he wants to pass to see what is happening. The bandits refuse and gather around him to beat him, wounding him in his stomach. They barely find anything to eat because of that army of Airymen which imposes its control over them, and now they are stuck attacking these poor humans in a wilderness. They decide to wander searching for food, thinking there must be a small village ahead for them to enter, where they might find something to steal. After they leave, the farmer runs to the burning house, emitting smoke. We discover that this house is his home. He calls out to his wife and daughter, but finds them lying on the ground. We return once again to Jahi, where the demon tells her that they have just put that demon slayer in the dungeons because he refuses to execute what is asked of him. Du enters and tries to talk to Jahi, but Jahi runs away from her. Du goes after her, but Jahi continues to distance herself, and Du doesn't know why she is moving away like this. Jahi answers her that her presence near her will reduce her focus during her tests, and that demons are fundamentally made of malice, killing intent, and evil, so she will turn to dust if she touches her. Then she asks her if she understood her meaning when she told her to suppress them with cunning. She continues her speech saying that she must whip them and torture them until they submit. Then Jahi says to herself that the ultimate goal now is for Du to realize that humans are enemies to them. If she realizes that humans are ugly and dangerous creatures, she will inevitably be aware of them in the end and view them as enemies. Then she takes her to this prisoner, as he will be suitable for her for this purpose. She asks Du to use the whip on the prisoner and torture him, but Du runs away because she is afraid as the place is pitch black. While running, she meets the Demon Slayer. Jahi is happy because she met him. The Demon Slayer asks her what brought her here alone while you are a child, and where did you get those fake horns? Du answered him that she was not a child, and these horns aren't fake, for demons have horns that grow just as anything grows in our bodies. The Demon Slayer asks her once again what she is doing here and if she came to kill him. During this conversation, Jahi looks at them happily because if the Demon Slayer keeps intimidating her like this, she will hate all humans and will suppress them on her own. After that, Du replies to the Demon Slayer that she came to give him a mushroom. She was supposed to roast it for him, but she cannot do that. The Demon Slayer answers her that mushrooms are truly delicious and taste appetizing when put in a hot soup pot. When Jahi hears this conversation, she gets very angry because she thought Du would torture him, but now he is playing with her. Then the Demon Slayer thinks to himself what the demons are planning by sending a child like this to him. Afterward, he speaks in a loud voice and tells them that he will never obey them, and if they are going to kill him, they should do it right now, for he has no place in this world anyway. After that, we shift to the bandits, who entered the village where they attacked its inhabitants to take any loot found there. They tell the people of the village that they won't destroy their village if they hand over the loot they have. Suddenly, that farmer whom they beat a little while ago appears before them. They decide to attack him to kill him, but the farmer gathers his strength and attacks them instead, killing one of them and then killing the other, all in front of the eyes of the village people. Suddenly, a mark appears on him. This mark is called Asim. It appears on the person when their body is stained with the blood of demons. It is a curse that never fades. From now on, that person becomes a demon slayer. With this, the mark he has will attract demons seeking revenge to return to the village. Although that person saved the village, its leader asked him a cruel request, which is to leave immediately so they are not harmed. In that moment, we understand that the demon slayer imprisoned in the demon prison is the same farmer who is working in the field. Since then, he lost his place in the world. No one and nothing is capable of scaring him anymore. He is a demon slayer and will even kill the children of demons. Du do not care about his words and opens the door of the prison he is jailed in. Jahi is shocked again even more that she was able to do that. Then Du approaches the demon slayer and tells him that he said before that he would kill her and doesn't care about her. Du also doesn't care about him and asks him to play a staring game together, telling her that she is lonely when her father and her big sister Jahi are working, so there is no one to play with her. I wait in my room reading comic books and playing with blocks because I feel lonely and wait alone. So when my loneliness gets intense, I go out to play with a group of friends, whether they're animals, humans, or big demons who play with me. But we aren't alone now, for you and I are here together. Then Asim remembers what happened to him. He looks at Du and touches her with affection. Jahi thinks that when he touches her, he will turn to dust. But a strange thing happens, and the curse on his body disappears. Then they play together, and Du is very happy with him. Du says to him, "You will want demons again, because that will make you lonely." Jahi arrives astonished by Du. Then Du goes to her and asks her if she passed the test or not. When Du touches her, Jahi scares and moves away quickly, but soon Jahi goes to her saying, "You are very amazing, but make sure not to open the locks without permission from now on." After that, we see those people working, and Asim is with them. His friend asks him why he's working so hard and if something happened to him. Asim tells him that he ate some mushrooms, but it is very hot here, so we have to endure it a little bit. His friend replies that it is very hot here all year round, even though winter arrived outside a while ago. Then we see Du and Jehu outside playing with each other in the snow, throwing snowballs at each other. When Jehu throws a snowball at her, she falls to the ground and thinks Jehu used magic, but Jehu tells her she didn't use any magic and that this is just her strength. The scene then shifts to the Demon King talking with Jehu about offensive magic. Jehu tells him that she has seen many demons become more evil when they learn offensive magic. If she learns offensive magic, she will become more demonic by nature. The problem is whether Du is capable of using offensive magic or not. So the Demon King uses his power and something appears in his hands resembling a ball. It is dark matter. If a human touches it, it will swallow them, but if a demon eats it, it will double their magic and evil nature. Then he gives it to Du, saying to her, "Swallow this dark matter and begin your training." We see Jehu with Du, telling her she will teach her. She laughs at her regarding the snowball incident, saying, "I used magic? Here is an example with this small stone. If you use enhancement magic, you can even flick it to be horizon or throw it at the wall and destroy it." Then Jehu explains to Du to hold the stone, imagine water flowing from her heart to her hand, and throw it quickly. But we see Du is a weak person, she couldn't do that. Jehu continues explaining to Du, there are many types of magic, so you must learn what you are good at. Then Jehu uses this fire spell called Flare, but we see Du only thinking about games and making toys for herself, and Jehu gets angry with her because of it. Then Du asks her why the fire didn't go out. Jehu tells her fire magic won't go out unless you use ice magic, which opposes it. But we see Du used something on the ice. Jehu is astonished by her, saying to her, I cannot produce anything at this level. Du tells her she wants to do this thing at the human's workplace. Jehu is very happy that she is thinking about that and that her evil side has finally awakened. She takes her to the Demon King and tells him that she wants to torture humans with ice. When the Demon King hears this, he rejoices greatly and thanks Du because she took good care of Du. When they go to the place where the humans are, we see Du used ice with the humans, but in a cute and refreshing way. The humans are very happy about that, and she also gives ice cream to the little ones. Then she sees her father and Jehu and tells them what she is doing while she is happy. Jehu gets angry at her because she is wasting her magical power on something useless. Du takes her father and they play with the humans in the snow. We see Jehu eating ice cream, astonished by what is happening. This is how today's episode of this anime ends. Wait for me in the upcoming episodes, and if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and activate the bell to receive everything new.
A former office worker is killed before getting the promotion he always dreamed of, only to find himself reborn in another world. There he discovers an extraordinary healing power that turns the tables and rises to become the strongest healing mage that world has ever seen. Our story begins with a young writer struggling to make his life better. One day he finally gets an appointment with a client and agrees to work with him. The young writer is happy because he's finally getting his promotion and wants to celebrate his moment with his friends. Meanwhile, a thief is running from the police, and when the policeman catches the thief unknowingly fires his gun and the bullet goes straight into the young writer's heart and he dies instantly at that moment, telling himself that he can't die because he was going to celebrate with friends. As he is dying, God reincarnates him into a world of magic and monsters. When the young man opens his eyes, he sees a dragon flying over his head, and he realizes he's in a new world where God tells him he has already been granted basic knowledge and can also check his status. The young man sets his name as Luciel, and for skills, he chooses Assessment Mastery, Material Arts, Magic Control, and Monster Luck. Finally, for his job, he becomes a healer. Luciel then decides to go and find a job for himself. He arrives at a town and sees that people are showing their ID cards before entering. As he tries to enter, the guard asks for his ID card. He tells the guard that he's from a small town, and when he came of age, he became a healer, and he says he wants to train at the clinic. The guard leaves and returns with a lady named Lumina. The lady asks Luciel if he's the one who wants to join a clinic, and Luciel replies yes. Lumina then asks Luciel to follow her. On his way, Luciel bumps into an adventurer who asks him where he is going in such a rush. Luciel replies that he's going to the Healers Guild and also apologizes to the adventurer. After that, he follows Lumina to the Healers Guild. A man named Kororo at the guild gives Luciel a form and asks him to fill in the necessary information and submit it to Kororo. He is then given a card that verifies him as a healer. Later, Luciel asks Lumina for the town's name, and she tells him that the town's name is Meriton Town in the Saint Chiro Republic. After Luciel gets his card, Lumina tells him that he's now verified and will be leaving. Luciel tells her that he's never used sacred magic because he's the first healer in his town, and there were no spells cast there. Lumina then offers Luciel 3 options: Spartan training, where he will have to study hard until he learns healing spells; to take a loan and go to a regular institution where he can learn magic spells for 3 years, but he will have to pay a platinum coin to the Healers Guild; to perform various requests while studying magic in his free time. Luciel decides to go for the Spartan training. Luciel thanks Lumina for her help, and then Kororo takes Luciel to his room, where he will be training. Luciel finds a spellbook in his room. Luciel starts reading the book, learning that chanting spells drains magical power from the body, and if successful, his skill will increase. After learning the spell, Luciel tries it, but nothing happens, but he feels satisfied later. He then checks his status and discovers that he is progressing. The next morning, Luciel tries the spell again, then checks his status and sees that everything is increasing in his skill bar. As he is working, a lady comes into his room bringing him food. Luciel asks for her name, and she mentions her name as Monica. After training for 3 days, Luciel is finally able to use the spell. Luciel goes to Monica, who confirms that he is now capable of using the healing spell, and Monica asks him for a silver coin for confirming it. Luciel asks Monica what is next for him, and if he should go to Luminous Sema for guidance. When Monica realizes that Luciel is the one recommended by Luminous Sema, she immediately returns the silver coin and tells Luciel that Lumina has made arrangements for him to borrow the room for 10 days. Luciel asks Monica if Lumina has such great authority there. Monica says that Lumina is the leader of the church's new female paladin regiment. Later, Luciel goes out to promote himself as a healer. On his way, a person asks him to stop, and when Luciel turns to him, he discovers it's the same adventurer he bumped into before. As they are talking, the adventurer's friends call out his name, which is Bazan, and ask for help. When Bazan goes to them, he discovers that his friends are badly injured and need to go to a healer as soon as possible, but they can't go to the clinic. Luciel intervenes to help Bazan's injured comrades. After intervening to help Bazan's friends, Luciel tries to heal them, but he fails in his first attempt to heal the injured comrade. He tries again, but this time with more focus, and he finally succeeds this time. Later, he heals every one of them, but when he goes to heal the last one, his magical power runs out because he wasted some during the attempt. Later that night, Luciel feels bad for himself for not being able to help the last injured comrade. Luciel decides to raise his level as a healer, so he needs to go to the Adventurers Guild to sharpen his skills. The next day, Luciel goes to the Adventurers Guild. When he enters the building, he is surprised by how huge it is inside. Luciel goes to a receptionist named Nanaella and says he wants to register as an adventurer. Nanaella then gives Luciel a form and asks him to fill in the necessary information. She then tells Luciel that since he has martial arts skills, there is no problem for him to register as an adventurer, and tells him that when adventurers complete requests, they get rewards. However, the guild takes a 10% cut to cover operating expenses, which is 5 coins. Luciel asks her what would happen if he failed a request, and she replies that there are penalties and other fees, so he will need to be careful. With that, she gives Luciel their lowest rank. Luciel asks her if an adventurer gets injured during training and he heals them, can he put that payment towards the training fees, and asks her if she can introduce him to someone who can teach him. She replies that she cannot do that on her own, and asks him to wait there. After a while, Nanaella returns and introduces Luciel to Broad, the chief trainer at the guild. Luciel asks him if he is willing to teach him martial arts in exchange for healing services. Broad asks Luciel why he wants to learn fighting, and Luciel replies that he wants to become strong enough to defend himself. Broad agrees and tells Luciel that he will take him as a recovery specialist at the training hall, and that his pay will be 1 silver coin a day. Luciel says he will join in 6 days, and Broad then asks Nanaella to register Luciel's name. Later that night, Monica brings Luciel dinner at the Healers Guild. Luciel asks Monica about the skill level he needs for Sacred Magic Affinity. Monica says that he needs level 5, which he can get in about 5 years. She then tells Luciel to take her on a date if he can reach level 5 in time. A week later, Luciel bids farewell to the Healers Guild and then goes to the Adventurers Guild. After arriving at the Adventurers Guild, Luciel heads to Broad in the training hall. Luciel begins his training as an adventurer. Luciel first starts with a running exercise, and after that, Broad checks his stamina by sitting on his back and tells Luciel that by doing such an exercise, he will have more flexibility in dodging enemy attacks. For the next exercise, Broad asks Luciel to try to land an attack on him, but Luciel is too slow to land an attack on him. He tries again and again, but he gets defeated every time. Broad then lectures Luciel. Then Broad asks Luciel for a second round, and he gets defeated again. Luciel then tries to heal himself, but Broad stops him from healing and tells him that if he relies only on natural healing, he will develop skills to increase physical recovery. Luciel agrees and then tells Broad that he is surprised that there is no one else there. Broad tells him that they don't get many newcomers because low-rank adventurers have no money, so they choose to battle instead of training. Broad then asks Luciel to promise him that he will heal everyone, regardless of their race. As they are talking, some injured adventurers come to the training hall and ask if there is someone who heals people for free. Luciel says he's the one who does it, and then he heals every one of them. They then thank Luciel that if he truly wants to train, he should live in the guild. Luciel replies that he doesn't have enough money for that. Broad says that he can live in the guild for free with 3 meals a day, but he will also have to increase the survival rate. Luciel agrees to do so. Broad then forbids Luciel from leaving during his training. Luciel tells Broad to make it a 1-month commitment, and Broad agrees. Luciel then asks him if the guild would agree to that. Broad tells him he has a lot of authority in the guild. Later, Luciel takes a bath, and Broad gives him new clothes to wear. Nanaella then comes and tells Luciel that Broad asked her to wash his clothes. Luciel declines and says he cannot let a beautiful person like her do that for him. Nanaella grabs Luciel's clothes and tells him she will hang them up with the rest of the guild's laundry. Luciel thanks Nanaella and asks her if there is anything he can do in return. Nanaella replies that she will look forward to it. Luciel then goes to the cafeteria for dinner, and there Broad presents him with a lot of dishes to eat. Luciel asks Broad if there is a party, but Broad says that Luciel himself has to finish everything and asks him to come to the basement after he finishes the food. Luciel realizes that this is part of his training and eats all the food by himself. At night, Broad takes Luciel to a room and tells him he will be staying there. Luciel then asks Broad if there will be others who need healing, and Broad replies yes. Later, Luciel tries to sleep but can't, so he gets up and starts practicing his healing skill and training exercise at night. He finally falls asleep. The next day, Broad tells Luciel that he will have his meals at the cafeteria, and then he introduces him to the cook named Golgar. Golgar then gives Luciel a drink made by the Sage of Time, and tells him that it's great for adventurers. Luciel immediately decides to drink it as it will help him with the training, but when he tries to drink, he can't because it smells very bad. Luciel names it Substance X. Somehow, Luciel manages to drink all of it and leaves everyone surprised because no one has ever been able to drink all of it at once. After drinking the substance, Luciel feels very energized. A week later, Broad is training Luciel at the training hall, and as Luciel is receiving the harsh training, a cat people lady comes and asks if there is someone who can heal her. When Luciel heals her, she hugs Luciel out of great happiness and thanks her, and then a beast people man comes to him asking for healing, and Luciel heals him as well. They both then say that if they get injured again, they will come straight to him. At dinner, Golgar once again gives Luciel Substance X to drink. After drinking it, Luciel heads back to his room, but on his way he realizes that everyone is spying on him. The next day, Luciel goes to Broad in the cafeteria and tells him that he thinks a bunch of people have been watching him lately, but he then realizes that Golgar and Broad were behind it. He then asks Broad about it, and Broad tells him that everyone is worried that Luciel might run away and tells him that many adventurers are poor and can't even afford their treatment. Luciel realizes that everyone wants him to stay so they can get healed for free. Luciel tells Brod that he will not leave and will continue doing it as long as he's around, and he asks Brod to stop people from spying on him or else he will force them to drink Substance X. Later, Luciel feels that people are finally talking to him as he heals more people day by day, and he also continues his training with Brod, but deep down, Luciel knows that he hasn't mastered anything yet. Finally, the month ends as their commitment expires. Luciel tells Brod that he will be going back to the Healers Guild to work, and that he will return to him once he saves up enough money, because he also has to pay the Healers Guild. Brod asks Luciel if someone gave him the money for the years of offers, what would he do next? Luciel replies that he would return to Brod for more training. Brod then gives Luciel 12 silver coins as a reward and asks him to go and pay his offers. Luciel refuses to take the money, but Brod insists that he take it because it's because of him that the adventurer's death rate has decreased. Luciel then goes to the Healers Guild and pays his yearly offers. Monica tells him that if he gets promoted within a year, he will be charged an additional offer. Luciel tells her that he is now focused on becoming independent. Later, Luciel returns to the Adventurers Guild, and Brod then renews Luciel's adventurer card for himself and takes Luciel for training. While Luciel is having his meal at the cafeteria, Brod comes and gives him a spell book so he can learn more about it. Luciel thanks Brod for giving him the book. Golgar then gives Luciel a big cup of Substance X. Luciel drinks all of it and once again surprises Golgar and Brod. A few days later, Brod tells Luciel that he can finally take a day off and that he has nothing to do in his free time. Brod then asks Luciel if he's free now, he should help the butcher in cutting some monsters. Luciel then goes to the butcher's room and knocks on the door. A butcher named Galba, who is also Golgar's older brother, opens the door and welcomes Luciel. Galba then starts the slaughtering process and takes out a boar from a magic bag. Galba then shows Luciel how to open the boar and make steaks. Luciel then asks Galba if all the meat he butchers is used at the cafeteria. Galba replies that they sell some meat to other guilds and shops in the town, and he says that he would like Luciel to get experience in butchering. Luciel tells him that Brod sent him here because he wants him to develop an eye for their weak points, and that they have all kinds of animals. Galba also thanks Luciel because it's because of him that the adventurer's death rate has decreased a lot. Galba gives Luciel a horned rabbit and asks him to open it. Luciel hesitates to do it, but he has no other option, so he opens the rabbit as Galba asked him to. Luciel then goes to Golgar, where Golgar tells him that his clothes are full of blood and he should change. Luciel then washes his clothes, and Nanuela then comes and asks him if there's anything wrong with him. Luciel says that he butchered a rabbit for the first time. Nanuela tells Luciel that everyone at the guild is grateful to him and asks him if she can help him in any way. Luciel appreciates her generosity. For his dinner, Luciel has soup made from the same rabbit he butchered, which was actually delicious. A few days later, Luciel gets another day off, and as he is passing through the hallway trying to find what he can do next, Mill and Nanuela grab him and take him to the library, where they present him with options, where they offer him knowledge about monsters, knowledge about different countries, religions, and laws, and finally, knowledge about vegetables and fruits. Luciel chooses the knowledge about countries, religions, and laws, but Nanuela gives him the book on the knowledge about monsters because Brod asked Nanuela to provide Luciel with more practical knowledge. Nanuela first tells Luciel about the country they are in and others, and Luciel then starts studying in his remaining days at the guild, and continues to be trained by Brod. Before Luciel realizes it, half a year has already passed. Nanuela then takes Luciel outside to buy some new clothes for him, and on his way back to the guild, Luciel finds Monica badly injured. Luciel then takes Monica to the Adventurers Guild and heals her. He then asks Monica who did this to her. Monica replies that Bakuli might have ordered someone to assassinate her because she tried to raise her voice against him. Luciel then tells Monica to stay at the guild for a few days. Later at dinner, Monica asks Luciel about the compensation for healing her. Luciel asks her to consider it a payment for her help to him in the past, and after a while, the man who attacked Monica is caught. A few months later, Brod comes to Luciel in a hurry and tells him that some adventurers are on the verge of death. Luciel goes after him, but when he heals the first one, he uses all his magic on him. Brod then gives Luciel a magic potion to help him recover, and Luciel then heals everyone he could, but he eventually loses consciousness. As a result, some adventurers died because they couldn't get healed. Later, when his one-year commitment ends, he goes to Brod and tells him that he will be opening a clinic and will come back to him after he saves up enough money. With that, Luciel leaves the Adventurers Guild. The next morning, Luciel goes to the Healers Guild where he finds Nanuela sitting very sad because he brought Monica to the Adventurers Guild and now Nanuela is trying to hire a new aide. She also inquires about Luciel's past year at the Adventurers Guild. Luciel explains his routine and also shares his goal of improving his self-defense skills, along with his sacred magic skills, which he has also raised recently. Nanuela worries that he can continue working on his skills here as well, but Luciel is passionate about helping adventurers too. Nanuela inquires if Luciel wants to raise his skills to rank C, which will cost him 90 silver coins. Luciel immediately calculates in his mind how he can save up that many coins. Trainer Brod arrives and hands a bag of coins to Nanuela, telling Luciel he forgot to give his earnings to him. Furthermore, Brod offers him to become a permanent resident at the Adventurers Guild, and he will also be paid. Later that night, everyone at the Adventurers Guild gives Luciel a warm welcome. Golgar gives him Substance X and asks him to raise a toast. After a while, Bazan and some of his fellow adventurers come to Luciel, and everyone enjoys talking about Luciel and his concern. The next morning, one of the most powerful healers in Meriton, named Bakuli, comes to the Adventurers Guild to meet Luciel. It seems that Bakuli's number of patients has been halved in recent days because Luciel provides healing for free, regardless of people's race. Bakuli offers Luciel to come and work at his clinic in an arrogant manner, but Luciel refuses because Bakuli's clinic, to Luciel, doesn't have a good reputation in the town. During their conversation, Luciel asks him about the kind of healing level Bakuli uses for recovery, which seems to be high-level recovery magic that is expensive. Luciel reveals that he knows that if the patients are unable to afford this expensive healing, Bakuli sells them as slaves to slave traders in other countries. After more talking, Luciel still blames him for this deed. Bakuli gets angry and asks his guards to attack Luciel. In the meantime, Trainer Broad comes and subdues the guards alone. Bakuli immediately runs away. Later that night, Trainer Broad tells Luciel that from now on, Trainer Broad will be training him properly like a knight, and that his training will be 2 times harder than before. The next morning, Trainer Broad starts training him more harshly. Luciel faces defeat in every match, but he does not give up. Rather, he keeps his motivation to perform better in training. In the meantime, it is also revealed that the injury rate at the Adventurers Guild has gradually decreased. Trainer Broad asks Luciel to start training with weapons now. Initially, he starts his training with a sword and shield. Day by day, Luciel also starts training with a bow, spears, and other weapons. He has improved his defensive skills and is also practicing and improving his healing skills too. On the other hand, Bakuli is not happy with Luciel's work as a healer and taking away his patients. Bakuli comes up with a plan to write a letter to the Healers Guild asking them to improve Luciel's rank, because he has shown a drastic improvement in healing and should be transferred to another town, because his existence is also clashing with Bakuli's business. In the meantime, after a few days, Luciel and Trainer Broad are eating at the cafeteria and discussing some random things. Nana Ella brings a letter for Luciel. Luciel gets shocked after realizing that this letter is sent from the Holy Church of Shul, asking him to come and work at the church headquarters because they have received recommendations that Luciel is very talented and is also doing a great job in the town. And when his assignment at the Adventurers Guild ends, he should immediately come to the church headquarters, which is scheduled to end in 6 months from now. Trainer Broad immediately suspects that Bakuli is behind all this. Shortly after, Broad and Galgar are sitting in the cafeteria. Galgar tells Broad that Luciel has shown improvement in his training and is even stronger than when he first came here, maybe because of the substance X he was drinking, or maybe because of his training. Meanwhile, Galgar arrives and confirms that Bakuli is indeed behind Luciel's transfer. Now, after 6 months, Luciel has made his decision to go to the church. During a private conversation between Broad and Luciel, Broad asks him to tell him that if Luciel feels unsafe or feels that the church headquarters is corrupt, he must return to this town. Furthermore, Luciel asks Broad for a favor. Luciel reveals that ever since he came to this town, he has tried to save as many adventurers' lives as possible, but still, some adventurers are dying. He does not want this to happen. Most new adventurers seem to be poor, so they can't afford the luxury of healing, and even if they can get healed, healers like Bakuli charge a hefty amount that can ruin an adventurer's life. Therefore, Luciel suggests to Trainer Broad that he should train the new recruits in a way that they also learn about identifying medicinal herbs, even if it is once a week. Broad also asks Luciel about Monica, and if Luciel feels comfortable with her continuing to work here, or if Luciel has any other suggestions. Luciel says that it's completely up to Monica. Later, it is revealed that Nanaella and Monica were also listening to the conversation between Broad and Luciel. Luciel also thanks both of them from the bottom of his heart for being there for him. To Luciel, their presence means a lot, because both of them kept him motivated to train and improve himself, and because of them, he did not run away from this place. Before Luciel leaves, he shares some of his last memorable moments with the members of the Adventurers Guild. Broad promises that when he returns, he will have a fight with him, and he will finally be able to land a blow on him. If he wins, Broad must drink 5 jugs of Substance X. Broad also thanks him on behalf of the members of the Adventurers Guild because he has done a great job here, and everyone is grateful for his services as a healer. He has certainly saved a lot of lives here. Broad also rewards Luciel with a farewell gift of a magic bag that can hold up to 10 items, and a bag of coins as a token of gratitude for his services at the Adventurers Guild. Luciel feels emotional because all he did was his duty to his comrades. Luciel gathers his belongings and goes with the guard outside the town, where his carriage is waiting for him. As he passes through the town street, he looks at the achievement figures he has managed to achieve in the past years in this town. When Luciel reaches his carriage, he realizes that Bazan and his comrades are already waiting for him. It seems that they are also going with him to the church headquarters. Luciel finally arrives at the holy city of Shiro with Bazan and his friends. Luciel then tells Bazan that he's run out of Substance X and needs it. Bazan then takes Luciel to the Shiro Adventurers Guild because Luciel was scared to go there alone, and there Bazan introduces himself to a receptionist named Milty and tells her that he wants to introduce Luciel to the master. Milty then brings the master, and Bazan introduces Luciel to the master as a healer. Everyone gets shocked. Bazan then tells them that he's Broad's disciple. Luciel then asks if he can have 3 barrels of Substance X, and the master tells Luciel that if he can drink the Substance X in front of him, he will give it to him. Luciel drinks all of it, and the master then gives him 3 barrels of Substance X. Luciel then bids farewell to Bazan and his comrades, and they also thank Luciel for saving their lives. Luciel then enters the church headquarters and introduces himself to the receptionist and asks if he can meet the supervisor. Later, a priest named Grainart comes and tells Luciel that he is the one who summoned him, and he then takes Luciel to the upper floor through a magic elevator, where Luciel meets Lumina Shema and thanks her for giving him the opportunity. Later, Grainart takes Luciel to a secret room and asks him about the situation that happened in Meriton. Luciel then briefs Grainart about the problems regarding the healers and money, and that all he did was just help more people. Grainart then tells Luciel that, if that's the case, he will discuss it with the other priests. and then assigns Luciel to the Spiritual Purification Unit with a monthly salary of 20 gold coins. Later, Grenard escorts Luciel to Lumina Sama's office. Lumina inquires of Luciel why he is at the headquarters. Luciel explains the situation and then informs her that he has been assigned to the Spiritual Purification Unit. Lumina warns Luciel about his new job and tells him that beneath the old building is a graveyard where there is a shrine for the founders, and several decades ago it turned into a labyrinth. And she tells Luciel that his job is to prevent any monsters such as ghosts, zombies, and skeletons from escaping the labyrinth. Luciel feels scared, but Lumina tells him that he can eradicate them with purification spells. Luciel asks Lumina if there is any perk to this job. Lumina replies that he can use the monster loots to purchase exclusive books. Luciel asks Lumina again if he gets bitten by a zombie and turns into one. Lumina says that zombies might have a venom, but no one has ever turned into one before. The next day, Grenard introduces Luciel to Jord, who was his predecessor in the position, and gives Luciel a robe stitched with sacred silver threads, which is given to healers who hold a rank of A or higher. He also gives him a key card that can help him use the magic elevator without needing any permission, and asks Luciel to swear that he will not bring anything back when he comes out. Luciel swears to it. Grenard then gives the card to Luciel and tells him that if he breaks the promise, he will not be able to use the card. Grenard then leaves Luciel to Jord, and they both go to the labyrinth together. There, they spot a zombie, and Jord casts a purification spell on it and collects the magic stone from it and asks Luciel to collect them in his bag and then leaves the labyrinth. Luciel then goes to fight the zombies, but when he spots them, he feels scared and casts 3 spells at once in a hurry. Luciel checks if his level has increased or not, but it's still the same. Luciel then casts the purification spell on his sword as a backup for his purification limit. Luciel realizes that if he uses recovery magic on the zombies, it will harm them. After covering most of them on level 1, Luciel goes to level 2, which is almost the same as level 1, and then Luciel goes to level 3 and purifies a crowd of skeletons with the purification spell. When Luciel uses up all his magic, he considers that the end of the day. As Luciel is leaving the labyrinth, Jord comes to him because he was missing for half a day, and when he spots Luciel, he casts purification on him to make sure he is okay. Jord takes Luciel to the shop where he can exchange the magic stones. At the shop, Jord calls out Katlia, who is in charge of the shop, and Luciel introduces himself to her. Katlia then asks Luciel to give her the magic stones he collected, and she then converts the stones into a total of 426 points, and tells Luciel that he can buy anything in the shop with these points. Luciel asks if he can buy spells. Katlia replies that spells are expensive, up to 1 million points. Luciel then checks out some weapons made of sacred silver, and Katlia tells him that each weapon costs 2,500 points. Luciel says that he will come back the next day to buy those weapons because he's short of points. Luciel sets his goal for the spellbook, which is worth 1 million points. While Luciel is going to his room, Grenard stops him on the way and asks him if he's doing okay. Grenard also informs Luciel that his pay will be in his guild account at the beginning of every month, and after a long conversation, Grenard gives Luciel a clerical robe that he can wear at the headquarters. The next day, Luciel takes the weapons he bought to the labyrinth and kills as many as he can, and then later goes to Katlia to convert the magic stones into points, and Luciel earns more points than the day before. The next day, Luciel explores the labyrinth more deeply and discovers that there are hidden traps in the labyrinth, so Luciel marks all the traps on his map. Luciel continues the same routine, and on his 10th day at the labyrinth, he finds a big door in the labyrinth, but he decides to check out the door later. In the evening, Luciel asks Jord about the secret room, which he calls the boss room. Jord is shocked because he achieved this feat when he was about to leave the position for Luciel. The next day, Luciel gears himself up and goes to the boss room in the labyrinth. When he enters the room, the door closes on him, and Luciel finds many zombies and skeletons rushing at him. In a moment, Luciel tries to use the purification spell on them, but his magic does not work, so Luciel runs to save his life, but he eventually fights and kills every one of them with his weapons. When he kills them, a wight wearing a robe and a crown appears in front of Luciel. Luciel tries to use magic again, but his magic still doesn't work. Luciel then rushes towards the wight, but the wight dodges. Luciel then uses a technique and defeats the wight. After killing everyone there, Luciel collects the magic stones and the robe from the wight and discovers that there is a hidden staircase in the room, but Luciel decides to check it out later. Luciel then goes to Katlia and exchanges his magic stones and gives her the robe he took from the wight, and also informs her that he couldn't use his magic on level 10. After seeing the robe, Katlia takes Luciel to the Pope and shows her the robe Luciel took from the wight. The Pope tells Luciel that it's important to her, so she would like to buy it from Luciel. Luciel agrees, but in return, he asks the Pope to provide him with a magic bag with larger capacity. The Pope agrees and tells him that he can collect the magic bag from Katlia the next day. Later, Katlia appreciates Luciel for his bold move to ask the Pope for a favor, because most people are scared to do so. The next morning, Luciel goes to have his breakfast and finds Lumina Sema with her members Lucy and Kuina on his way. They then go to the cafeteria, and there, Luciel informs them that he wants to return to Meriton so he can train more and become stronger. Lumina tells Luciel that they can help him train. Later, Luciel goes to the labyrinth and explores levels 11 and 12, and then goes to Katlia to exchange the magic stones, and there Katlia gives him his magic bag that he requested. Luciel explores level 15, and then later goes to the Valkyrie Paladin regiment and introduces himself to everyone. Later, they start sprinting, but Luciel ends up being 8 laps behind everyone. Later, Lumina asks Luciel to attack her with his full power, but Lumina manages to take down Luciel easily. Later, Lucy and Kuina wake him up from the ground, and they then go to the bodyguard training. Lumina conducts a test of their training and the defense team. Luciel wins, but the leader of the attack team, Elizabeth, argues that the defense team won only because of Luciel, because he repelled them with his powers. Lumina agrees with the attack team and calls Luciel a freak. Luciel tries to justify to Lumina, but Lumina discusses his personal life and teases Luciel, so he stays silent. The next morning, Luciel goes to the labyrinth and explores level 16 and continues doing so for a few days, and then he finally reaches level 20 and finds another boss room, but he decides to return to it later. After that, he goes to Katlia and asks her about it. Katlia says that it might be someone else lost in the labyrinth. Later, Luciel goes to sleep. The next morning, Elizabeth wakes Luciel up and takes him to the training class for the twin-wielding technique. Lumina asks Luciel to fight with Reaper, but he loses. Luciel then fights with Elizabeth and is defeated by her again, but he keeps on learning. Later, Luciel goes to level 20 again, and this time he fights the White with other monsters as well, and returns with the robe again that he got from the White. Luciel shows it to Katlia and they both go to the Pope to give her the robe. The Pope tells Luciel that the robe belonged to one of their priests who went into the labyrinth a decade ago. Luciel asks the Pope how it all started. The Pope then tells Luciel that half a century has passed since the underground part became a labyrinth, but they don't know what caused the transformation, and after that, many people sacrificed their lives so they could prevent it from spreading. Luciel asks if the labyrinth can be destroyed. The Pope replies to Luciel that it is possible to defeat it by destroying its miasma-emitting core, which is causing all the filth, and as a result, the labyrinth itself will disappear, but no one has been able to achieve it, and after that, the entrance was closed, so no monsters could escape. The Pope then asks Luciel to continue exploring the labyrinth, and Luciel agrees. The Pope then offers Luciel to request anything to continue his quest. Luciel says that he wants anti-undead weapons and armor, and the Pope agrees and also informs him that he will get a promotion by the time he reaches healer rank 7. The next day, Luciel visits the Shiro Adventurers Guild, asking for 10 barrels of Substance X. The guildmaster asks him for help as he did in Meriton due to the high number of injured adventurers. Luciel refuses as he is already working at the church headquarters, but he then offers to help as a fellow adventurer for 1 silver coin per healing. The master takes Luciel to the underground area of the guild, where many injured adventurers are taking refuge. Luciel heals them for 1 silver coin each, requesting them not to call him Miso Zombie. They appreciate his generosity and nickname him the Weird Saint. The next morning, Luciel meets Clear, who notes his delay. He explains that he said goodbye to the Valkyries and expresses his intention to stay in the labyrinth for a while. Katlia worries about his safety, but Luciel reassures her that killing the monsters in the main room poses no danger until he opens the door. She asks him to visit her weekly. After a few days, Luciel returns to Katlia, who provides him with the requested weapons and armor along with an angel pillow for deep sleep. After a few days, Luciel goes to the Adventurers Guild to purchase Substance X. The master notes that it's his day off, as he doesn't usually come on weekdays. Luciel confirms this and asks the master to send another letter to Meriton. While chatting, Milty informs Luciel that everyone is ready for healing. After healing them, Luciel inquires about news from Meriton or the Valkyries. An adventurer reports that the Valkyries are safe. Another mentions that Luciel's master, Broad, is kidnapping adventurers for training. Another person shares that Golgar is experimenting with new dishes using Substance X, and there's news of several Adventurers Guild receptionists getting married. Luciel asks for their names but receives no answers. He feels a sense of loneliness, as he wishes he could have attended their weddings. After 6 months of defeating the boss at level 20, Luciel returns to the labyrinth and successfully conquers the White boss at level 30. He exchanges the magic stones for points with Katlia, who suggests he buy some magic potions. Luciel agrees, explaining his heavy reliance on magic, thanks to which he survived, particularly due to his frequent use of area high recovery. Katlia is astonished and wonders if Luciel is using some weird drugs, which he initially denies. However, he quickly realizes he regularly consumes Substance X. Katlia accompanies Luciel to meet the Pope, who is surprised that Luciel defeated the White alone at level 30. Katlia reveals that Luciel consumes Substance X. Luciel explains the origin of Substance X and its purpose to awaken talents and its components. The Pope appreciates Luciel's dedication and asks about the monsters he faced. Luciel reports fighting 3 Whites and 5 Ghost Knights and hands over the collected items to the Pope. The Pope praises him and encourages him to delve deeper into the labyrinth. The next morning, Luciel receives a letter from the Pope regarding the side effects of Substance X. She explains that the drink enhances one of the 3 primitive desires, sleep, food, or sex, and converts that energy to boost physical capabilities. Luciel realizes he lacks sexual desire, but resolves to conquer the labyrinth and fall in love. A month after Luciel revealed Substance X, he ventures from layer 31 to 40 and reaches the boss room. However, he decides not to rush the confrontation and heads to the Adventurers Guild to gather information about the dead creatures. On the way, he meets a young girl and escorts her to the guild. There, he meets Nanuela and Monica, who have arrived from Meriton to find him. As Luciel is about to inquire about the reason for their visit, a group of adventurers urgently summons him to heal injured comrades. While tending to them, he asks Milty to check on the girl he rescued. Milty reveals that the girl's situation is dire, prompting Luciel and the guildmaster to escort her. Upon arriving at the location mentioned by the girl, they find a group of severely injured people. The guildmaster informs Luciel that they are representatives from the Yini Free Independent State who were attacked by bandits near the border. Luciel realizes the girls sought help from the Adventurers Guild. While tending to the injured, a man unexpectedly attacks him, but he manages to heal everyone, including himself. Later, Luciel discovers that the girl he rescued is the daughter of the beast people who attacked him. Despite the initial conflict, Luciel forgives her family. They plead for Luciel's help for the people of Yini, who are also in desperate need. Nanuela wonders if Luciel will provide his services for free, and though he declines, he offers assistance under the guise of charity to avoid scrutiny. In the evening, Luciel has dinner with Nanaella and Monica at a restaurant. He inquires about the reason for their visit to the capital, learning they came to celebrate Nanaella's and Molina's upcoming wedding. Luciel expresses his astonishment, revealing he wrote to them but received no replies to his letters. He says he felt angry when they confessed they hadn't received his letters. Luciel confronts the guildmaster about the letters, learning they were never sent due to his habit of throwing parties after work. He gets angry at this revelation. During the conversation, Ellis teases Luciel about his relationship with Nanaella and Monica, but he insists they are dear friends who helped him on his journey to becoming a healer and his experiences with Substance X and Trainer Broad's training. Luciel expresses his desire to spend more time with them. At night, as an apology for the letter's mistake, the guildmaster throws a big party for everyone. Shortly after, Nanaella and Monica leave for Meriton with Luciel's promise to visit them in the future. Luciel later meets with Lumina and shares his progress in the labyrinth, explaining he's not yet ready to face the White at level 40. Lumina requests a sparring match to assess his improvement, and Luciel impresses her with his skills. Despite losing, Lumina praises his progress and advises him not to face more powerful enemies at this stage. Curious about her new ordinary tone, Luciel learns that Lumina usually adopts this tone, but sometimes struggles to maintain it. After 6 months, Luciel decides to confront the White at level 40. Luciel engages the White with different tactics, but nothing proves effective. Luciel uses the scent of Substance X to briefly deter the White's attacks. After a week of non-stop attempts, he recalls his twin-wielding training and finally defeats the White, acquiring a spellbook in the process. However, his exit route becomes inaccessible, leaving Luciel trapped in the labyrinth with a barrel of Substance X strapped to him. He bravely advances toward level 50, determined to reach the boss room. After enduring 6 months inside the confusing depths of the labyrinth, the Adventurers Guild's concern about Luciel's fate grows, believing the church has detained him, causing clinic fees to skyrocket. Amidst dwindling rations, Luciel prepares to face the formidable adversary at level 50, the White King. The White King immediately resists his spells, utilizing a spell from a forbidden book. Luciel engages in an intense magic battle that rapidly depletes his strength. He consumes every magic potion in his possession in desperation. In a final struggle, Luciel finally triumphs, seizing the forbidden magic book and other treasures. Robo retires in troubled from the feuding revolution. A mysterious light materializes, draining Luciel's magic and revealing a staircase leading underground. Venturing into the depths, he encounters an injured dragon. To gather his strength, Luciel consumes his last magic potion and summons his magic. Remarkably, the dragon praises Luciel's one-hit victory and offers its treasure, vowing to cause no harm. It reveals that collecting the magic stones will dissolve the labyrinth. The dragon informs Luciel of the labyrinth's purpose, which is to imprison the dragons. Luciel asks the dragon if a hero was meant to come and rescue it, but the dragon says, no one has ever come before. Grateful for Luciel's assistance, the dragon grants him a protection spell that makes him resilient. Collecting a treasure of jewelry, a spear, and a necklace, Luciel earns several titles before being teleported to the labyrinth's entrance. Back at the Adventurers Guild, Katlia mistakes Luciel for a monster, prompting his reunion with worried friends, including Trainer Broad, Gulgar, and Galba. Broad's hug unknowingly announces Luciel's return, and Galba inquires about his absence. The guild prepares a special meal, and Luciel, now revered, heals those unable to afford the clinic. Luciel seizes the opportunity to train under Trainer Broad, although he is still defeated. Broad warns Luciel to be careful, acknowledging the distress his absence caused. Galba offers to train him, hoping to enhance his skills. Luciel hands a letter for Nanaella and Monica to Broad, sparking a playful discussion about his feelings. As Nanaella and Monica leave for Meriton, Luciel witnesses their farewell. Luciel then informs the Pope, explaining the Valkyrie Paladin's retreat in the labyrinth and his recent victory over the White King. In a private meeting, he shares the existence of the forbidden magic book and the dead sacred dragon. The Pope orders Lumina and Katlia to keep the secret. Luciel learns that Substance X is responsible for his level remaining static at 1 due to its many advantages and disadvantages. He is frustrated and must stop consuming it. A week later, the church headquarters hosts a celebration honoring Luciel's triumph in the labyrinth. The Pope expresses her gratitude and promotes Luciel to Keeler rank S, granting him a status equivalent to a bishop and the authority to refuse orders, except those from the Pope. Luciel vows to establish new guidelines for medical treatment fees, protecting the church's authority and promising a brighter future for all. Watch this next video. Till next time, my fellow legendary plotmasters, thank you.